people, speaking of the markets, are finding that there's this late in the game relevant to research that's kind of referencing older things that are months old, like coming to a conclusion in December about a security, waiting till now to drop a short report, like ADMA Biologics. I realize it takes time to build up a report, to write something. You're busy trading, you're busy, living your life, working on your business. But if you're actual short seller that has a research firm like Culpeper Research, relevant to ADMA Biologics, which is a IVIG company, the immunoglobulin that a person with like an autoimmune disease, maybe a genetic disorder, to replace that IgG antibodies, they get this infusion. And their short report came out. The stock was already down around $14 from highs of like 22, 23, 24 of last year. And it went from 14 to 750. And what's really interesting about the 750 number, if you look at the DCFs, it's implying that like it's peaked in revenue, and that like 2027, 2028, it goes from 550 million in revenue to not a projection of 650 next year or this year, end of 2026, but like 450, 400. This slow perpetual fall based off of their current actual earnings in terms of revenue is a lie. They're saying that they channel stuff with their sister company, which is a distributor, and that those sales never get to the customer. But they've disproven this. ADMA came out recently and addressed this. The stock didn't move up a lot, though. I imagine it hasn't moved up a lot because there's not enough powder. It's a company where if there's anything wrong at all, anything wrong, the margins get crushed. If any of that revenue is not real, the company, the value goes to 750 essentially. That's like the basement. Possibly lower if there's fraud, like actual accounting irregularities that are purposeful, like SMCI. If it were like in conjunction with Lou, they're a business development person. If they were working together to hide things, that's a problem. But the short report has these abnormalities, like their auditor like recused themselves. Well, the auditor retired or something. It was like something different like that. So there's these honest irregularities in the report relevant to the facts, and then there's like some interesting things of you do own your distribution. You did front load some contracts or extend the period to where the inventory was being held and not distributed, but that's because of emergencies. They overbuy. They claim to fill the gap when there needs to be like an extra amount. There needs to be more IVIG. Asanev is their drug, their specific IVIG. They didn't address the cost, which makes sense. It's their business. If they want to charge 6 times the average, is according to the Culpeper Research report. But this stock, it's hurt a lot of people. These type of things, they're very insidious. SMCI stuff coming out, it's like things are already down. Like SMCI was low, and that was painful. And I'm waiting for that one shoe to drop or they lose a customer. At some point, that won't matter. Like things will stabilize. If NVIDIA stays with them, it really doesn't matter. You have Michael Burry on Substack right now saying that NVIDIA will be charged with the monopoly on GPUs. I'm like, it's not a monopoly if how is it a monopoly? You could use CUDA with like just about anything. You can use CUDA with like AMD GPUs. What is the monopoly? Intel has GPUs. It's a nationalized company. Or is his insinuation that the U.S. government's like interest in Intel, which is a great trade, and I called that last year, maybe even the year before that. They were just going to nationalize Intel for the sake of the chip wars. Great book, read it, Chip Wars. It's important for you to understand. And then also learn about AI as much as you can. Learn about energy and alternative forms of computing. Because the bottleneck between all these GPUs, which are not really efficient, building data centers with GPUs, is like you're overcoming Moore's law through capacity, but it's not energy efficient. So you're not overcoming Moore's law. The 3 nanometers, done. We have to figure out a different way. Electrons might not be the board. The electric, motherboard, send information and store information in electron form. Maybe we can do it with photons. It's hard though. The storage of the light, like storing things in light or transferring things in light to a storage unit and then extracting that vis-a-vis photons. Remains to be seen. Very complicated stuff, but I have a patent coming out in about, I don't know when I'm done with it, but like there's definitely going to be like this, okay, we're not, say you're a startup, we're not going to build data centers like everyone's doing that. That's a capital expenditure misalignment with a startup, because the startup might get $25 million and a infrastructure build of like a data center costs $15 billion. So like there's no justification for that. What you could do is solve that problem at economies of scale where, okay, 100 GPUs is as powerful as one optical computer, processing unit. It's like 100 to 1. And the efficiency might even be better than that. So if a, NVIDIA Blackwell unit is 30 grand, let's say $3 million for 100 of them, it's 30 grand for one photonic compute processing unit. And there are other things that there's there's a lack of the von Neumann, the loss structure in the conversions, the bus to long storage. There's all these things that are problematic. You could, if you had a loop of light and it just pulled information, it stored everything in perpetuity. We're at a Khrushchev level of utility. It seems inefficient if this is giant nuclear reactor, the sun, and we're going to use that to power our planet once we evolve. And we're going to take that and rudimentarily reverse it back to electron form. And it's a question why would you do that? Well, we have to use old form storage because you can't hide information in light. Information passes we get information, microwaves, whatever, from other planets. It's the question is when did it get here? It's traveling. Is that just something that's insurmountable that you really can't beat the speed of light? In which case, you have to optimize for that. If the speed of light is penultimate, I guess you can't be the speed of light in one plane of reality, maybe one dimension, but in transmutation of dimensions or crossing over, you could bend that physics. But in a nutshell, I think the use of electrons for storage of information is the same as using fossil fuels in a sense. It's just you think you advance beyond it and that you advance in every form. The future of computers is not going to be the silicon processor. Even lithium, maybe lithium will be used in a different way, but it's not something pure, But yeah, anyways, I just don't I don't love these short reports. I don't love the way the market is kind of hurting retail investors. I've had a lot of people that are just feel so frustrated with the Bush administration, the Trump, might as well be the Trump administration's kind of back and forth, with there's a deal, there's no deal. There's no deal. You're buying yourself 2 to 4 more weeks. Marco Rubio said this afternoon, to bring troops to the Middle East and try to take one of the islands and then negotiate. Again, there seems to be this jihadist, if you want to call it that, or this maximum lever where if you were to even nuke Iran or just full bore attack them, their counters would not be to you directly. Their counters would be to the infrastructure that surrounds them. And I don't think you can fortify that. I think the desalination plants, you can't just build up a fortress that's impervious to ICBMs, in Saudi Arabia. You just can't. And if they think they're going to do that, I would not be surprised if we keep instigating, and this weird thing where we make a truce with Iran, but then Israel keeps bombing them. It's insane. It's a straw man agreement for peace. The pretense, like the news from the West, is like for us, and it's retarded. Like read the Wall Street Journal and like how like amazing Israel's doing, but in reality, their missile defense is not doing so hot, and there's a lot of pressure. I don't know what to make of it. I think Israel really wants to go full in now. I think they really do. I don't think they're trying to wait. I think I don't see a deal. I really don't. I don't see the pressure points. I see these people are so fed up with the bullying of Israel and the United States against them and their sister nations. They're just like, you know what? You think it's an inevitability that you can just wait us out? You're the most powerful military in the world. We're going to bring you to your knees by doing something that's irrational. You know? Something that would cause massive inflation for like a decade. That would vastly affect oil and logistics around the world. It's not winning though, because once you pull your levers, you have nothing. But that's like the jihadists, like you know, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. You know, that's the move. Even if we nuke them, they have time to fire off. If they know that, you know, they'll know. And they that's why it's the mutually assured destruction is the protection. That's why people don't do it. It's the presumption that you will. It's bizarre. There's also this like idea that maybe no one has nukes. Maybe the nukes are just not real because like no one's ever going to use them. The deterrent is so silly. I also believe Russia is heavily involved in the negotiate. There's no negotiation, but they're heavily involved in like a back channel with Iran. They might even have some presence, submersives in that area by the Strait of Hormuz. I think the Iranian-Turkish gas pipeline undermines, if it were to fall in the hands of the West, Rosneft and Gazprom in Russia, and the 80% of gas that Germany consumes that's Russian. I don't think you want to fuck up any more than the BRICs have. Maduro 2 years ago or a year and a half ago said, "Oh, it's a new world," referencing like the end of the U.S. dollar, the rise of the BRICs, and some future named denominational, probably on the blockchain. And oops, we got him. Oopsie daisies. He's like at the Supermax. Where is he right now? And then we took Argentina before that to maintain the lithium and protect that against those interests against China, who was trying to make a vestige into South America to kind of like fortify them in the new Monroe Doctrine. And then we are we're just doing shit for Israel, for our good Jewish friends, to fulfill biblical prophecy under a legitimate reason. There's a co-reason or a mutual benefit. They're not direct, but like the means to an end, the ends are separate. But the dollar maintains itself as the reserve currency of the world. The petrodollar, 2007, guess who dropped it? Russia and Iran. They went with Russian ruble and the Iranian rial, or the fuck it is. And it's kind of like, it's not all about just helping Israel. It's like, no, we need to pivot to China and Russia more directly in this, I don't know what you call it, the technology race, maybe, whatever you want to call it. The open source AI programs in China are pretty impressive. They do a lot of things like kind of passive aggressively, like a woman, like dropping these open source platforms to fuck with like maybe the VC or private equity markets in the United States. Like all this when it goes into open AI, like valuation at one point was like, what was it? Like $14.50 a share in December of 2023. Like, it's like, what is it now? Like $700 or whatever it is, $400. I can't remember. I don't know the dilution either, but it's like a crazy, jump. And I don't remember the market valuation. I sold that for people. I had shares and I was selling it. I can't remember what the market cap was at 1450, but it was about that. And it, like at scale, it definitely went to like 250 within like a year. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And fucking up that market by like dropping Kimmy 2.5 and stuff, and say, hey, you don't need to pay for this. You don't really need to. But what the models do that are proprietary is they are inclusive of the cost. You have to pay for the compute power somehow. And Claude kind of like is getting you hooked, or ChatGPT getting you hooked, almost losing money in a way for you to be like, to either get more market share somehow, more users to where it's cost effective for them. And they can marginally raise the prices through like additional resources or a bundling of services and some sort of subscription that's, multi-asset based, kind of like X will add fintech so that you're more inclined to use it if you've never been on X. Like, you mean I can text my friends? I can have a cell phone service. He wants to add that for $5 a month. So you're paying 10 for a badge on X for no reason other than to talk to bots and feel good about your tweets from bots, or getting extra recognition from X by having bots like your tweets because you're paying $10 a month to feel better about people acknowledging your existence that don't exist. They're just, again, bots. And then you also get your cell phone, and then you get your fintech, and then you get your porn from Grok, making like ex-girlfriends like have sex with each other. Just one there, and this one, and then like, you could even like look at your mother's friends when you were a kid that you had a crush on, and like make like euthanize them, or not euthanize them, make them young or de-age. And then like put them on like different bodies and just smash them and like create like this like hour-long AI video. We're gonna get to a point where the ability, quantization, like shrinking things down, and image-based token usage is not like efficient. It's actually, we can't seem to make it cheaper. But I feel like if they do figure it out, like the whole movie industry and all that shit, God, it's so sad. It's really bad. Should we do a health check on my my current situation? 120 milligrams of TRT a week, cypionate, 750 IUs of HCG, taking beta histine. Beta histine is a H3 antagonist. Its H3 receptor is only found in the brain. It's only one histamine receptor found in the brain. Regulates histamine and other neurotransmitters, the release of them. Histamine's a neurotransmitter. People don't seem to know that. They seem to have like a negative, antihistamines, like it's like histamine seems to be a bad thing. Well, it's different in the head, but also it's not, it's complicated. It's just complicated. What if, histamine dysfunction is actually a thing? And I don't mean mast cells where you have these cytokines, like from the mast cells in your body that also shoot off dopamine. They become like pro-inflammatory. So they like shift their release of serotonin, histamine, whatever. They go towards cytokines instead because you're in a disease state. You're afflicted with maybe an endovirus or a retrovirus that's been activated, like Epstein-Barr. And I think there's also an endovirus. That's something different. But I don't believe in that theory. I think it's your body's immune system activated from something, and it shoots off antibodies. When you get like tested for reactivated viruses, they're not necessarily indeterminable from extracellular vesicles. Is it replicating virus, or are there antibodies, which means that it exists? No, your body also shoots off Epstein-Barr pneumonia antibodies for like whatever strain because it's sick and doesn't know what it is. It's not as efficient as you think it is, hence the whole fucking autoimmune disorder. I don't really think I have anything wrong with me, but my body is making me feel like I do. And it's destroying my life, and I don't like it. And it's like, okay, well, then it's not that brilliant. You know what I mean? Hence the dystrophin gene. Kids with muscular dystrophy, boys, girls are XX, so they have an extra healthy copy. Boys XY, they don't, so they're more likely to have this weird genetic mutation that causes them to die at an early, 20 early age from like suffocating, basically. But the dystrophin gene, by knocking out the dysfunctional one and inserting a healthy copy, it doesn't work. There's all these problems that happen. I call it covariance isolation. You add this like in mice, some of them do better in other things, but like in the end, like they're like have all these problems. It's almost like the body gets used to being sick and then it just can't get out of its loop. Like all these other biological processes are now changed by this epigenetic adjustment to how the body's working. Call it epigenetic, call it like just a rebalancing that doesn't seem to go back to healthy. I think it's just like a genetic like weighting to like predispositions. And like once you tilt the scales too far, I don't know if you can just go back. I don't know. Hard to say. But then again, there's been remissions from chronic fatigue syndrome. There's been remissions from long COVID. People just snap out of it. What I think is happening is like there's an energy savior. Like you're sick, right? And you have the flu. You ever notice you try to read or do work, it's hard for you, just have no energy. A lot of it's your body making you sick to divert the energy to like fighting the illness. Like the whole sore throat shit, that's a lot of that's not the illness. It's your body's reaction to the illness. Now, after the throwing up, after the the diarrhea, all the nasty stuff of like the whatever virus you have, flu, ever try to like the first day you like feel you don't need to throw up and you decide I'm going to do some work in bed, how exhausted your brain is, like how difficult it is to do stuff. That's what chronic fatigue syndrome is. Like people think, oh, these people are just lazy. They're women. A lot of women have it. I think there's a disposition there with like estrogen and the activation of differentiation of B cells, which is why I was worried about testosterone in general. Like maybe that exacerbates things. And I've like gone back and forth, but like on the lower dose of testosterone, I was like, I got this huge flare for a month. Like I got sick and then I was like sick forever. And I felt like I just wasn't as like assertive, and my testosterone levels were not even where they were before I was sick. I was like fat. I'm still fat, but I was like extra fat. And then like, I had this like theory with like the aromatase inhibitors, and like the aromatase inhibitor, I take it and I feel better, but is it just raising DHT, which blocks differentiation of B cells, lowers estrogen, And then I get this horrible rebound 2 days later and the estrogen pops up. Is it the estrogen or is it like the imbalance? Like it's triggering something by spiking up all of a sudden because the anastrozole is kind of like in and out. I've had some amazing moments of feeling like awesome on lower, like taking anastrozole, and then like my dopamine just like flies. So I'm not entirely sure. Taking beta histine also made me really tired recently. And I don't quite understand what's going on with it. But at the same time, it's also helped me like feel good. Did she call? Hold on. I'm afraid to turn on my phone. It fucks up the pod. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, okay. Just in general, the disease state. I was talking about trying to like use technology, technology, the dystrophin gene, inserting genes, getting sick. What was I? Autoimmune disease. Oh, a health update, random, I don't know, tangent. And then it's like, okay. One of the reasons why also those in silico drug discovery models using the computers, like they don't seem to develop drugs. Like all the ones that are like companies that are using in silico, the drugs they've like sold in recent years, like Nimbus Therapeutics drug to Takeda, the interest on that, like the equity provision, like there was a large portion of equity from Schrodinger, who had the platform that they were that Nimbus was licensing, and so what brilliant business model by the way. Schrodinger would take small companies and let them use their software for free in exchange for equity. That's awesome, right? And they got paid like $500 million or more. I think like first payment was like a lot, and then they were going to get more for a drug that didn't actually get developed on their platform with their software, but they took equity in the company in exchange for that right, and it was like a free roll. It's like, yeah, our software really doesn't isolate covariance, and it's hard to know what the fuck you're gonna like target. And then when you find a target, like what does it do if you do stuff to it? It's like what other bad shit happens? Like that's the whole toxicology thing when phase 1 trials. But in like the gene therapies, our bodies in general, when you start to like change things up, not just small molecule discovery, but really get into the intense CAR T stuff. It's not necessarily for everybody. It can kill you. There's some people with just chronic fatigue syndrome. They're like can't get CAR T cell therapy. They don't have a lupus diagnosis, which are the most recent trials, but they were like desperate. They went to Japan, went to India. Some of them died getting CAR T because their life, they were miserable. I was a National Merit Scholar. I went to a really good school somewhere, and I went to another unbelievable school. I don't mean like I went to like University of Florida and I went to University of like Southern USC. I went to like really good schools, and it's like I feel like some people think that I'm not sick. Like friends of mine that are really sick that I've become friends with, like really close. They're like, oh, he's so high functioning. I'm like, well, imagine. Do you remember what I was like when I wasn't sick? And I guess I'd mask it really well. A gentleman's not like my dad had pancreatic cancer, and no one knew. Like a gentleman's supposed to not divulge those things, right? I'm not supposed to complain about it. And now with the group, we talk. And there's this like, I think empathy is important. Like girls, especially, it's predisposed to all these girls having like autoimmune. So there's a lot of girls in this group chat. They're predisposed, and women are predisposed to like emotional needs. Like so you want to make inroads with someone. You talk about feelings, not about like solving the problem all the time. Just being there for them. You ever have that with a girl who like is like retarded and keeps fucking up? And like she doesn't really, you like, oh, all you have to do is this. She actually doesn't want your help. She just wants you to be present emotionally. And you as a guy are like, who the fuck has time for that? Like I can solve all your problems and then go do something else with my day. That's the thing with women. Women will, to test you, will like determine, will you give up money like in your business, career, upward mobility for me? It's a test to see whether you're loyal. Will you, crazy women. I think it's not all women. Like the sex with these women is unbelievable. These women are like, great. The reason why they're, available and not like walking the runway of Wilhelmina, for Wilhelmina vis-a-vis the house of Balmain, is because they're crazy and they're self-destructive. And you are an insecure male who might be slightly underachieving, really, really high expectations, investment banker father, and it's easy. I get it. It's easy to have women. I'm 6'6". Women look at me all the time. I'm not Brad Pitt, but I am tall. And I make fun of myself all the time. And women like that. It's like a sense of confidence or something. I don't know. It's really easy just to have them appease you versus go to dinner with men on a Friday night and work out a deal or think about like an idea and build it. All this pussy at different tables, different booths of the steakhouse. And you're just like, I used to just pick girls and go out and just rail them. And like we order Chinese food at 2:00 in the morning and have sex all the night long and, do cocaine. And it's awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's great. Except if you are able to do that and like, travel well, and eventually gets boring. It's like this weird loop. You go back to, I don't really want to be 50 years old and my skills are diminished and I don't have anything to show for it. Like, I'm a big tennis guy. Wawrinka, someone asked him, like, why do you keep playing? You're rich, He's like, well, what else am I going to do? It's like, you're not as good as you used to be. You have money. What the fuck? You're going to play like recreational tennis and just fuck up people at the local park? Can you imagine if like a professional that like recently retired, just even not like just could like kind of amorphisize his face and like just like join a rec league and no one knew who he was? Just he got off on like pretending he was like in his prime on rec players on the weekends and just fucked them up. They're like, dude, that guy's like really talented. That's like, have you ever thought about playing like I don't know, a local like adult league? You know what I mean? Like what do you call it? Like a semi-pro, over 50. He's like, oh, that's very interesting. What an astute observation. I didn't know that existed, but thank you. And he's like, he's made like $15 million playing tennis professionally. I met a guy like that who wanted to be on the what do you call it? The senior tour on the PGA. Like the places he played, like played at the Breakers, played at like Palm Beach, the Trump's place, and the PGA National. Those are the places he was playing. And like my friend who is incredibly autistic, way smarter than I am, was obsessed with golf and dated some girl that was on the like PGA Tour for a little while. Then he like had a breakdown when they broke up because she was rich and successful, and he was like kind of a math guy, and it was like very hard for him. He's good looking, very very tall, like taller than me, 6'6". He's like 6'8", and he like was explaining to this guy. It's like, dude, like what do you shoot? You shoot like 69, 70 when the courses are, you know, set. Like you're shooting par. You're shooting like handicap flat, +1, -1, whatever. When I know people that have beaten Tiger Woods at Congressional. I'm serious. Like he was not, you know, maybe he wasn't trying his best, but he was trying. When it's time to play a tournament and you have to wait like between shots and it's the flow is off and there's cameras and all, people are staring at you, it's completely different. Some people can do it, some people can't. That same friend who shot like a 64 Congressional and Tiger Woods shot like a 68 that day, and he plays a Congressional all the time. It's like invert that and add like 15 shots to my friend's score if it was like the U.S. Open. The first one he won, I think, was at Congressional. Fred Couples at Chevy Chase Club in Maryland, in Chevy Chase, Maryland, unrelated to the actor. But he shot like I think he owns the course record, and I think it's like a 50, it's under 60. You know, and he just did it on a random day. His first shot when he did it, the head pro told me, it went into the woods. So like that's really impressive, right? But yeah, it's just a different animal. But yeah, so we're stuck in this loop where the markets are going down a lot. You know, you're kind of scared. I think a lot of retail people are like, is this going back to 6,000? Yeah. And if you look at the chart, it looks like it could get a lot worse than that. And you better not be on margin. You know, it looks like there's going to be a lot of bread and circuses for the goy, because it's like this is designed, you know. We're gonna do this war in Iran. It's not gonna go well. Then all of a sudden we like broker a deal. I don't know. But the regime, there's no thing about regime change in Iran right now as things are. There is no regime to change. It would have to be a complete takeover. And the people of Iran, what do you do with them? It's a lot of them. You know? What do you do with 1 million people that don't like you? It's a problem, you know? There's like 5 million people. What's the population of Iran? I'm not Ted Cruz. I don't know. It's on my job to know. Iran population 2026. I'm going to say 6.5. Let me guess. Okay. It's like 100 million people. It's a lot. I fucked that up so badly. Okay. So it's a lot. It's a lot of people. They all hate. They don't like Israel. They don't like the United States. Imagine if like 1% of them were drafted. You know, let's assume that it's 50-50 women, so 50 million people are men. How many of them are of the age to, you know, serve? Call like 20%, let's say. So like 10, like dude, what? 10 million soldiers in the aggregate, 18 to like, call it like 2.5. Dude, just saying, like if they have like tell people to pick up their, you know, AK-47s that are impervious to that desert, never jam. It's scary, man. Arming the people, dude, that's the way. That is the way. Oh, it's so hard to be me. You know? It's just tough. God. These court people trying to file this thing. I file it. They take my money and they're like, it's not in the docket. I'm like, why isn't it in the docket? It's so annoying. Don't contact me. I call them. They say we don't see it. Like, they look at me like I'm an idiot. I'm like, I've done this a million times, filed stuff on my own. My lawyers, I paid to do something. There was an additional filing. I just did it. And I've done this a million times. And, it's like, I'm not going to pay them to do more. I want to just do this and be done with it. And, of course I fuck it up. No, they fucked it up. It's not, they're taking the money. They're saying the file's accepted, the e-filing, and, it's just not there. Yeah. Clav's in jail. He's not in jail for the shooting of the dead alligator. He's in jail, which seems incorrect. I don't know. Isn't the Florida Everglades a protected property? You can't just shoot things if you're not provoked. It's a national reserve. It's a wildlife reserve. That's like a felony waiting to happen, dude. He's gonna like do his stint in jail for street cred or something. It's coming. Like Clav in jail. Clav's gonna have like a cell phone in jail because it's getting bad with all these charges. But you fuck with the U.S. government and like stupid shit like that. It's like it's the other cases. His points on his background are getting worse and worse. So he shoots a dead alligator, then he fucks some person up in an assault later. I don't understand, man. It's like you're gonna get the street cred. You're gonna be on your cell phone in jail for 6 months, and you're gonna be like, "What's up?" And then, but your people, they're gonna be so annoyed by you. The CEO is just gonna like slap the shit out of you, and you're gonna be on lockdown. You're gonna be put in solitary. There's no content. Content is king. You can't do content in solitary, Clav. Come on, step it up. You like the shag? Kind of like it. Like it like your mother. Just kidding. Dude. Yeah, all the quantum stocks have not lost enough. They have not lost. They're just hanging around. In this market, it's like $10 billion valuations are still applying to some of these quantum names that are like making the same amount of money as like one location of a Starbucks in New York. No, I'm sorry. A Starbucks in New York City on one corner makes more than these companies. Like QBTS. Like one fucking client from January. Give me a break. January last year. Dude. Tiger Woods has been arrested for DUI again, rolling over his fucking car. Oh my God. What happened to this guy? What the fuck?
The Jupiter Island Police Department, where we currently are, received a call of a rollover crash about 2.5 miles from where we are. The Jupiter Island Police Department responded out there and found a pickup truck pulling a pressure cleaner trailer and a Land Rover which was rolled over on the driver's door, and we're going to provide you photos of that. The investigation started, and initially, right off the top, it did appear that the driver of the Land Rover might be impaired, and at that point, the Chief Ewing of Jupiter Island Police Department called me from the Martin County Sheriff's Office and asked for our assistance. It wasn't that the Jupiter Island Police Department isn't fully capable of doing these types of investigations, but quite frankly, the Sheriff's Office has a lot more repetitions in these traffic crashes and these types of investigations. Our investigation revealed as follows. Shortly again before 2, the pressure cleaner truck pulling a trailer, a small trailer, was northbound on South Beach Road and was pulling.
By the way, why does there need to be a press conference about a DUI? Because it's Tiger Woods. Who gives a shit? Like, they like love this, like a rich guy fucking up. That's what they like. It's kind of fucked up, you know? Bunch of hillbilly hicks in Florida that like make $60,000 a year that have to wear pants in that humid fucking weather, and they're like, this dumb fucking nigger keeps fucking up. This guy has planes. EA Sports, it's in the game. Tiger Woods, PGA Golf. Like, he is like everything. Dude, they love this shit, which is actually wrong because clearly there's a problem. You know, like people go through shit. You know, I've went through shit and no one was there to help me. Everyone was rooting against me, but I was a child and I didn't have a father, and yeah, it kind of sucks. Like there was no one to like watch me from all the enemies of my family attacking me and my brother. Oh my god, dude, wolves. I just didn't know any better. But dude, it's hard when you're like him. It's like I don't know. I'm not. I gotta feel sorry for him.
Thing kind of to turn into a driveway. It was slowing down, starting to turn into a driveway, and the driver of that vehicle looked in his mirror and saw a Land Rover, dark-colored Land Rover, overtaking him at high speeds, and I don't know those speeds. The Land Rover kept overtaking him. He saw it coming, so he tried to edge off to the side of the road, but this is a small two-lane road, and there was no shoulder for this pressure cleaner gentleman to get off the side of the road. As he was trying to move to the side of the road, the Land Rover overtook him at the last minute, swerved to avoid a collision, but clipped the back end of the trailer of the pressure cleaner apparatus, listed to the side, and then rolled on the driver's door north past the truck that it just avoided the crash with. The individual driving that Land Rover was able to crawl out the passenger door of the car and was identified to be Mr. Tiger Woods. Our DUI investigators came to the scene here, and Mr. Woods did exemplify signs of impairment. They did several tests on him. Of course, he did explain the injuries and the surgeries that he had. We did take that into account. But they did do some in-depth roadside tests, and when it was determined, he was placed under arrest and taken to the Martin County Jail. At the Martin County Jail, and even on scene, we really weren't suspicious of alcohol being involved in this case, and that proved to be true at the jail. So Mr. Woods did a breathalyzer test, blew triple zeros, but when it came time for us to ask for a urinalysis test, he refused, and so he's been charged with DUI, with property damage, and refusal to submit to a lawful test. In the crash, no one was injured. Mr. Woods did not seem to be injured at all, and the other gentlemen were not injured.
Sorry, I got obsessed with reading something. So it looks like, yeah, man, he just was on medication or something. And maybe he had a concussion and he really didn't do a DUI. This actually might be not his fault. Sounds like.
So just before 2 p.m. today,
Sounds like Tiger has medications. Blood work's a little crazy. That's a little unnecessary for a DUI too. It really is. It's just kind of over the top. JD Vance says U.S. government does not even prosecute fraud if it's under 1.5 million per year. Really? You guys want to come up with some ideas? Like, what the hell? Really? 1.5 million a year. Let me ask Martin Shkreli. Hold on. That's crazy. Who the fuck wants to live in Baroda, India? Who gives a shit if Kash Patel has a shithole shit box in some rural area where like 90% of people defecate in open air? Who gives a fuck? You jelly? That's really bad. Like, I don't like that, man. Like, buy a beach house. It's awful. Oh, my friend went to IVIG. Ironically, she just got poked 8 times. That sucks. God, David Sachs's face is disgusting. He looks like the guy from Star Wars, Emperor Paladine. Like, you know, the electricity out of his, like, the bad force, the dark force, whatever the fuck. An Atlanta-based surgeon, plastic surgeon, faced multiple malpractice lawsuits for negligence after she was dancing and singing while performing surgery. One of the lawsuits comes from a family that claims the doctor left their mother brain damaged. Yeah, so like imagine a black woman having solidarity with the black doctor that's a woman, and like thinking that that's smart. Like you can have a drink with her and talk about, you know, who's doing better with welfare fraud, but what you can't do is have them perform surgery, especially if it's elective. You're not on an HMO. You just want a BBL so that like a bunch of random losers can like ogle you as, and dude, this like, it's like a low IQ thing, man. Lowering standards at med schools because it's racist. Yeah, well this is what happens. This is what happens. My God. Shameful. Clav needs to get off the Ozempic, man. Dude. Those legs look frightening. There's no muscle there. That's like that is the Ozempic thing. I don't know. I don't like raising my dose. Maybe that's what I need to do because like I get hungry now more than it just doesn't work. I haven't taken it all week. And I was doing fine without it. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a good thing. He showed signs of taking medications. He could have a fucking concussion. He flipped his car. Got Clav and Tiger one day. He's fine.
The Strait of Trump, harmless. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Such a terrible mistake. The fake news will say he accidentally said that.
We have to pay them. You got to pay them like $1 trillion in damages, and then they could say no, they don't need it. It's really weird. You keep saying how Iran's been defeated, and this like Roy Cohn never admit faults or losing anything. You always win. You're never wrong. And eventually, it's going to come out. This is what they're going to do. They're going to say that we invested like $1 trillion in infrastructure. So like there's assets there that we liked. And we said, we want this. So we sent $1 trillion over there, and we got something we wanted. And the reality is it's a payment for saying sorry for the time being until the next time we and the IDF go in, probably on the ground. The Western media is crazy. You get like RT.com and like Al Jazeera. It's completely different. It's like it's like everything about Iran hitting Israel, and it's like everything on the Wall Street Journal is like how Iran's crumbling. But it's like, when is it crumbled? When is it like done? Like it's like this thing where you've won, but what exactly is still going on? Well, they control the largest sea, trade route, maybe the most important one in terms of value in the entire world. Up, and like the Panama Canal, up right up there, and they still control it even though they're defeated. Why didn't you take it when you defeated them? Well, that's a great question. It's really complicated. It's just so stupid. So stupid. Rubio accuses Zelensky of lying. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. It's like the bricks got to play. Oh, let's see this. Why can't I play it? Is this not a link? How do I? Rubio accuses Zelensky of lying. It's a video. I want to watch it. Hold on. Zelensky has said in an interview that the United States was pressing Ukraine to cede the eastern Donbas region to Russia before finalizing post-war guarantees. Secretary of State Marco Rubio accuses the Iranian president of lying over U.S. demands on Friday and voiced an openness to divert weapons embarked for Kiev to support the war on Iran. You know, the $200 billion we want, that makes a lot of sense. That's why Russia and Iran are working together, because it's like, this is good for them. It's good for the region. It's good for the fight against the petrodollar, fight against the United States. And of course, the Donbass is like part of the Crimea, like acquisition tunnel of like local in space to the Russian border, gathering those territories. Of course, he's got it. Why would if you're winning a war, as Putin is slow rolling, he'd crush Zelensky and hang him in an open square in probably a week if he really wanted to, and take Kiev quickly. He's done this purposely. He knew about Iran. He's very much aware of the global politics and that this is a move to bleed the United States. Because a buffer to the West, like having all the gas pipelines go straight through, I don't know. There's something about that. It's just a post, fall of the Soviet Union, like territory bullshit neutral state that has a Western puppet as Zelensky there. It serves no purpose other than this weird buffer. And at like face value, it's something that's, it's land that Russia doesn't have, they used to have. But the amount of money we've spent there, the $200 billion, I think dwarfs it, but it's for 100 days. How much money have we sent to yeah, 127 billion, and that's for a war, and 200 billion is for 100 days of an operation. Congress is not going to pass that. So Russia's getting what they want, right? They're getting what they want, but they're not going to let the United States simply fall over. I think Russia's going to pressure Iran, and there's going to be I think there will be an agreement. I think this is a good sign. I think the end is near, but we'll see. We'll see. How long have I been podcasting for? Or whatever this format is. Game.com. Game.com is worth like $10 to $15 a share. It's like under $380 right now. It's interesting, but it's a marketing thing. Marketing in the age of AI is very scary. Could you just have an AI agent create your marketing? I don't know. I have to look at their business model some more. It's such a weird world we're living in. All right. I will do that. I will watch this show. I will. All right. Oh, did it tell me? Did I fucking not even look at my time? Dude, just looked at myself. And I was like, I ran away. Let me see. How long? It's like 30 minutes. I'm good. 58 minutes I've been doing this shit. Have a good weekend. Bye.